My name is Peter. I'm Dscoop's executive director, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming you to episode number 7 of the series, The Link. And I'm excited to have with me Douglas Gibson, the CEO and founder of Infigo in the UK. Hello, Douglas. How are you?
I'm very well. Hello there, Peter.
Hello, Douglas. So a bit of the background on the series, right? So the purpose of the session and this one with Douglas and the ones we've done in the past is to encourage dialogue around collaboration. And the aim is to have a meaningful conversation with you, our members, those that are watching the recording and those here live. Raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Feel free to interrupt. Um, we will have a Q&A towards the end, but if something comes up during the conversation, feel free to chime in, raise your hand, we'll see it, and we can bring you on stage, and you can bring your question to Douglas as well. You can also put your question in the chat if you feel more comfortable doing that.
Keep them clean.
We keep it clean. We keep it clean for sure. And then just as always, I have a little incentive for you to ask questions. Douglas will be the judge of who asks the best question. Completely up to Douglas. There's no set rules of how this works. So very subjective. But we'll send a package of Dutch stroopwafels over. And Douglas, I'll send one to you as well. So you will have that. Just so you know, for those who are new here, you have the chat on the right. All the way on the right, you see who is live in this session. You can unmute yourself, you can mute yourself, you can hide your video. And then you can also see who is in this session, and you can connect to those through the platform. The chat during the session will remain accessible for those that are here live. If you're watching the recording, sorry, you don't have the chat. So anything that happens within the chat stays within the chat, essentially in this group. So with that, I'm excited that Douglas accepted the invite to be the guest on today's show. I think most of you know Douglas already, but for those that don't know you, Douglas, a brief introduction about yourself. Tell us where you are, where you're calling from, and how you got to Infigo.
Excellent. Thanks, Peter, and thank you very much to you and the Dscoop team for inviting me on today. I'm calling in from sunny Sussex. It's not often we get to say that. So I'm positioned almost halfway in the UK, down at the bottom between London and Brighton. We sit not far from London Gatwick. So nice little town and nice little village that I live in. So Infigo, we've been working with you guys now for around since 2015, that cold Washington day. I think it was a snowy one as well. Almost didn't happen, but for us, I'm very glad it did. So we started off right in the corner as a Ruby partner. I'm not sure if you still run that facility, but that was the beginning, and very fortuitous for Infigo and stuff like that. So that's how we got into the Dscoop. And then in terms of Infigo, I've always been interested in software, and started out as an engineer and always trying to improve things and use that engineering brain to make things better. And I had a life in Xerox many years ago, selling fax machines, and mixed in between selling fax machines and technical. And then all of a sudden these communicated network devices landed, and all of a sudden we're moving from platens and photocopiers to connected printers and digital. The digital transformation started. So I was very fortunate to be right at the beginning of that. And back then I was helping customers manage color coming off of press, and matching that to digital. And those days it was very hard, but we used the old colorite densitometers, create some profiles, and that was how my journey sort of really got started. And I evolved into that business and doing a lot more software and technical. So that got me quite excited about software, and I sort of latched onto that a little bit more. And I brought in a couple of products from the US for it was a Xerox franchise at the time, and we started selling those products. And At that point, I got headhunted for a position at our friends, or what was EFI, Electronics for Imaging, and they had quite an exciting and very deep pockets at the time. So it was a quick, are you interested? We'll triple your salary, let's go. So that was, but no, just a very exciting company. And what first got me moving over to the US of A. So it's where my knowledge and growth in sort of web to print really, and all things automation really started to grow.
Mm. Mm. And then you already talked obviously about Infigo. How long have you been with it? How old is Infigo now?
So will be 14 years this year.
Yeah.
Probably around, so the business was first formed 14. We first got a main product to market, a first sort of tester in real earnest around 2014.
Mm-hmm.
That was IPEX, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that doesn't exist anymore. But we first started, we had a few products, but 2014 was our first sort of real push into the market, and that's where we started to get some more significant growth.
Okay. And then, I mean, how did that idea come about? Of
Well,
starting this
yeah,
company?
it's a good question. Thanks, Peter. It's very interesting. So when we spent times at Xerox, and then a lot of time at EFI, I helped manage the Xerox business there, managing a number of products, and it was very obvious that customers were really interested in software, but the cost prohibition and the time to set up, etc., sort of excluded a lot of people. So I was then sort of racking my brains. Well, actually, how about we sort of do this easier? So if we can make it easier, if we can make it faster to get online, and then I started doing a little bit of digging. I looked at some existing solutions out there, met with the guys back then. It was like X-Rail and Printables, and was thinking we could resell their software. And then I looked at it and said, well, if we're going to resell this and I'm going to invest a lot of time and energy, then I probably want to have our own product and IP. So we started what became the first version of Infigo, and what was literally a server chucked on the internet and people can access. And I wouldn't want to say it was from my bedroom, but it wasn't a million miles away. But it was very early days of what we'd sort of term the old cloud software and those sorts of solutions. But it was really the big driver was, why is it so hard? Why is it so difficult? And when we looked at some of these other software, they just looked terrible. They were very functional, very good software, but they looked rubbish. They were off-putting. Didn't have a great user experience, and I thought, well, if I can bring something that's fast, looks really good, and is easy to set up, then we might have a winner here. And that's where we started to develop and drive the product forward a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you keep going? I mean, you talked about the one of the motivations is to do it easier and faster.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that still applies. Fast forward to today,
Oh
14
my God!
years.
You know what? I had
They
a
still want it
call.
easier and faster, right?
Yeah, I had a call. What we now 4 o'clock UK time, would have been around 3 hours ago, and I sat on there with the chap MZ, who's now our CIO, was our CTO, and one of a couple of other guys, and we're bringing some new technology to the up and coming shows, and it's a battle, because what we try to do is wrap sort of the complexity in the back end, but in a simplified user interface. And there's always developments, so there's always more configuration. So as we start adding more features and continue to add more features, we've got to continue to have that balance where we're developing the software that customers can easily use, it's fast to use and stuff like that. And one of my dreams is that we have this concept for 60-70% of the market that says, look, I want to launch a t-shirt business. I want to launch a labels business. We get asked all the time from smaller guys in packaging. the market's not that fully developed. They don't know where they want to go. Look, can I just try this for X amount of pounds and be up and running? So that's one of the big challenges that we're super focused on at the moment. We're very fortunate that we have a very deep and very wide product functionality now. So our focus, rather than continue, which we obviously will, is adding functionalities. How can we make what we have faster, better, and slicker? So yeah, it's still 100% that challenge. And as we add more features, it bloats out the product, so we have to then make it faster again, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. But you've assembled a strong team around you, right? So to adopt that mindset and that culture that you bring as well. Because you have now, obviously you're in the UK, and your team is part of your team is obviously remote, and then you've got also a developer crew as well, right? In
so pretty much everybody. If you look at it, we have a small satellite HQ in the UK, in the US, and in Moldova, and it is a massive challenge, but something I think we've absolutely got nailed, and it's taken us a couple of years post-COVID to get that communication, because how do you take 10 or 15 cultures? How do you take 5 or 6 time zones? How do you create that link, that requirements to work together? If we look at external collaboration and then look at that internally, how do we collaborate internally so that we foster these great minds and we foster these great ideas? And I think that's one thing that I was really proud that we've worked at. The senior leadership team that I have is one of the best in the industry, and they've helped me navigate that really, really well. And I think the collaboration internally now is the best it's ever been, and will only continue to get better under the new leadership that we're putting together since Alex sort of took over the day-to-day running in May.
Yeah, cool. It was interesting when I did a bit of my research. Is it's around collaboration, right? There's the theme of this session, and like on your history page, even at Infigo, there's like 14 plus mentions of partnerships and collaborations. It's like it's in the DNA of Infigo, rather than maybe invent something yourself, you partner with others. How did that sort of start in
well, let's look at it in a different way. My engineering brain. How big a house can you build with a single brick?
Well, not very big, right?
And like that's the reality. We look at knots and zeros and or all of that sort of stuff, and it's always it's an interesting industry. We an amazing one, but one that we're all a little bit frightened of. Right, I'm not going to share this, and I'm not sure to share that. So I'm, as you know me, we've known each other a long time. I'm very open, and I think one of the best things is a lot of us are having, whether it even be HP or other vendors, regardless of the size, we all have similar challenges, and that we have to relay to our customers. And what I found very, very early on is when I wanted to create Infigo, I couldn't do it myself. I needed good people to be able to help me. So that nucleus was born within the DNA from when we started. I then looked at that framework of when we got involved at Dscoop and others, if I want to help a customer automate, I want to help a customer get more files into the business, I want to help our customers be more profitable, I can do that one or two ways. One, I can build every piece of the functionality that starts from the job coming in, to the estimating, the quoting, to the pre-flighting, to the proofing, to the automation tools, to the RIP, to the printer if I want to. Or I can work with the best of breed partners to make sure that what our customers get is actually the best of breed partners knitted together, and they get the best parts of that workflow. And that's something that we continue and will continue to push really, really hard, because I think we're only about 30, 40% the way there of how good it could be for our customers. Because most of our customers, for various natures, especially in the medium to larger ones, they maybe come together with different people at different times. They maybe have mergers with a different company, so they have challenges with different platforms and different systems. So how do we bring that together in a more cohesive way? And the only way we can do that is by working together with our partners and solving those challenges together. Because we've seen an industry where some have tried to solve it all themselves. You just can't. It's impossible. We couldn't be the best leading global web to print player and be the best global MIS player and the best global workflow automation tool. It'd just be impossible. There isn't enough money, time, and focus to get us there. But what we can be is together something that is an absolute fighting force to drive our customers forward better than they've ever been before. And that's something I'm 100% as passionate today as I was the day I started the idea and the business all those many moons ago.
And what was the initial response when you talked about this with, say, potential, your current partners, but maybe they were seeing themselves as competitors?
Yeah, it's been, and it still is. It's a challenge because everybody. One of the things that you have to, and I've said this a few times, and you will have come across this yourself, Peter, a lot, is we've got to put egos at the front door. Mm-hmm. We're all as good as each other. We all got maybe bigger customer bases or bigger features or better functionality, and we've got to say what are we collectively here for the better good of driving the customer forward. If we're there for that and we can leave our egos at the door, we can give stuff way beyond what we even dream of. I think what the challenge becomes with partnerships is, where's my logo sitting on the webinar, and where's this? And I say to my guys, and Chris will tell you this, is I don't care even if we don't have a logo. What we provide and our services will speak louder than the volumes that we put our logo there. And bringing together, making the effort to bring collaboration and our partners together will outweigh that. We'll just become, if you need Infigo, need web to print, go and speak to Doug and his team. And that's the way, rather than, we're so-and-so, so we need a logo at the front. And so that's been one of the biggest challenges. And it still does. It still does continue to get some, we've been around 20 years and you're only 10 years and you've only got half the amount of customers. And I'm like, but we're still, whatever the problem is, the same size. But it can be made smaller if we work together to solve it. And I think that's still the challenge that we will continue to. I love to work on that and fight the cause for the end customer.
Yeah, definitely. And so you talk a lot about your focus on customers, right? So how would you say a customer would describe Infigo? What would they say about the business?
I think that's a good question. Well, we got a customer I'm working on at the moment, a new prospect, and he asked to speak to some customers. So I spoke to Greg and said, "Hey, Greg, give me. This is the field. This is what we need." And he gave me a number of clients to speak to, and I chose a couple that I thought I know those guys. And I think the feedback is good. I think what they say about us, we're a friendly bunch, a little bit crazy, a little bit wild. We're very good at getting the job done. And we work hard in the pursuit of delivering what we promise from the point of purchase with the customer. We might not always get it right. I'll put my hands up to that. But when we find that out, and if we don't, if there is a situation where that happens, we will be there. And once again, egos aside, look, we're here to help. We're here to deliver. And I think that's the feedback that we'll get. And one of the things is our US customers seem to be rave about us in terms of our support and service. And it's something that I'm very passionate and push the team that I want to be as fanatical about that and helping our customers serve their customers than a lot of others.
Yeah. Hey, and then back to partnerships, just because it was fascinating last year. It was last year, yeah. You held an event. You were hosting an event in London. At the Automate Print. And it it was, I think, the second or third installment. You did it in Las Vegas, and you did it
Yeah.
in London as well. I
I
mean,
got told I was wanted
collaborating.
for doing that, and we still do now. But there you go.
Yeah, but you do. I mean, collaborating with another partner on for a customer's benefit, right? So making the
Yeah.
problem smaller is one thing, but then you get the different sort of brands together for hosting your own thing.
Mm.
Um, how did that sort of come about? How did you come with this idea? Oh, let's do an event together and invite all our prospects.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like we are no blue chip giant. There's no like I'm not trying to present we're a size of HP or the other manufacturers. So the challenge is the customers go to the events that are put on by HP and other. So how does little old Doug and his Infigo team create an experience that HB, that Dscoop, etc. Invite? So the only way to do that is splash loads of cash, but that only solves one problem that we'll put on a great event, but the content might not be as interesting. So speaking with the customers, the desire was, well, if we can bring people together, as in partners, collaborate, and also demonstrate real life problems, that's more interesting than just sitting there clicking on one piece of software. If I can take a piece of software that goes from Doug's system and Figo, goes to Print IQ, goes to other systems, comes back, goes into Infocus Switch, goes into the ESCO world, comes back to Infigo, we send out that for the customer. That's the challenge that they're trying to solve. So and what we found, not only was that an overwhelming success from a customer point of view, but partner was like, well, I didn't have to pay 50, 60, 70,000 pounds to put on a single event. So that joint nature really came from that's where that came from. And I wouldn't be too afraid to say that we probably borrowed a few ideas from your lovely organisation and the way you do things, Peter, because you guys put on a very good show. So we
Yeah.
definitely took snippets of that from that. And I want to do more of that. I want to make that bigger. I want to make that brighter. We talked about looking at some technical requirements. So that was very much focused on some of the end users and
Yep.
sorry, more the CEOs and sales management. But I'd love to do more technical one. I'd like to bring all the technical people from the industry together. We sit in a room, we lock ourselves away for 2 days. They probably won't want me in there, but maybe I could sit outside. I'll bring my technical people, and we'll have a collaboration where we can build some tools ourselves. And I want to continue to pursue that and push that harder, because I think the industry will benefit so much more from that than just sitting there talking about, oh, which show we go. Shows are brilliant. And Chris, I'll bore Chris to do, but unless we can show something new, innovating, where we're linking together, I don't want to be at the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. You, but I won't say you're a jack of all trades, but you have, like, you talk with passion about engineering and technology. You talk with passion about customers, about marketing. You've really, you know, you fit many roles, I think, in this case. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think.
Do you feel you fit many roles?
Yeah, 100%. I can understand. Don't get me wrong. I'll try not to swear. I don't think I've sworn yet. I can understand the bullshit that I get from the techies and understand the basics, the appliance of the technical. But I might not be able to write the basic code, but I understand when they're pulling a wool over my eye. I've also been around large corporations, so I understand the budgets and budget lines and stuff like that. And I'm a very, very passionate person about ideas and creativity. So that comes across in the sales and marketing piece. And one of the things I've worked hard, I spent the last 5 years in the software world working with my own coach in sales and marketing, and a coach on people, and then a coach on software. So I push myself to learn and grow and develop from that perspective. And I think that's what we've got to work on. And I would like to see more of that from the printing industry. And I think they can, across labels, packaging, etc., to help develop and learn and grow themselves. Because I think then we can really see a business that continues to thrive and grow and so, and that might be my next chapter when Alex kicks me out of the front door, to continue and push more things like that. Because I think there's a lot of opportunity still within our industry, to thrive, grow in many, many different areas and really take hold of some of those exciting opportunities and be that master of all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be also the mentor for
Yeah,
younger generation
absolutely.
of people coming into the
Yeah,
industry.
how
Yeah,
to
yeah.
I sit in a room and the guy, customers will say, "Well, how do I put a business plan together?" I don't know. These are the steps I follow, and maybe sharing those 5 steps are five steps further than they might have been on their own, and stuff like that. And I think that's the thing we've got to come. And I know you guys are really passionate about bringing these. And one of the big successes of Dscoop has always been that you're bringing people together that ordinarily are frightened to share. And I think that's the thing that where Dscoop and HB shines across any of the other Canon or Xerox events is because we come together, we have honest conversations, but we have a passion to help and support each other. And that comes from collaboration and working together. And I challenge any other industry to continue pushing and develop the rate of what you guys do.
Yeah, yeah. What would you say, you talked a little bit about the development of your team and your organization and having your internal communications,
Mm.
set up the way you like it right now. But what were the initial potential uh, opposition you got internally when you talked about, working with others, working with
Yeah, I
other
think well, if we
spaces
take
or customers?
that if we take that even like a step further back is when we set up Infigo, it was 5 or 6 people, if that, working together and having conversation. And we sat in a small room and we shared things, we had ideas, and even then we were really poor at communicating. And then when we started to get bigger and grow and stuff like that, we could see the challenges that exists. And then when we started to push that out, well, let's look at that and to say, look, we want to do this. Who is best in place of helping us do this and support us doing this for the customer? And then, well, we just go and do it, right? We'll speak to the customer and whatever. And you find that there's 2 or 3 partners. So I think it's really, it's mapping that journey of working with the partners, putting in some time that you help them, you drive. And I think the challenge is in partnerships, collaborations, is not always to look for what's in it for you. I'm a very much believer, as I've said a couple of times on this, is we'll help first and seek something back second. Because I know if we do a great job, we show a value, whether it to be customers, partners, my employees, the guys we work with, will get that opportunity to come to us anyway because they'll get that support. And I think that's the biggest thing that we need to, and we are 100% more focused on that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe building on that, Bernard has asked a question. Bernard, do you want to ask the question yourself, or should I read what you put in the chat?
I can ask myself. So
Yeah.
how often do you need to take other solution providers into the boat for certain projects? Often projects are beyond your scope, and then you need to collaborate with others. You have the contract, but you take others in the boat, and there's always the risk that you take a competitor or potential competitor into the boat to manage a project. So on one hand, you want to fulfill, you want to make your customer happy, but on the other hand, you want to filter a little bit maybe what your customer sees from the market.
Yeah, I think the challenge is all being clear on what everybody's roles are within. I don't think there's a medium to large project that we don't work on that hasn't got 5 or 6 partners. And some may want to work with us, some may not want to work with us. But I think it's making it very clear from that outset of, look, this is our role, guys. And we sometimes, what we try to do in a polite way without being rude, is we try to say, right, we're going to drive this. We're going to be the role, rather than 3 or 4 people being the facilitators of that project and that direction and that opportunity. So we try to take the lead, We're not there from other than right. Look, there's a single point of contact for the customer. From that point there. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge. We work with everybody all the time. Everybody's got other ideas. They want to sell more modules. They want to sell, oh, well, if Doug does this, I can't have this. And so there's always that balance and challenge. But I think that's where, if we're focused on why we're here, what is the goal? And the goal is to put a very good solution together for a customer. And if there's a better way, if Esco can do that better than me, or if the guys can create a price quicker in their estimating solution, let's use that. Let's not say, oh, well, Infigo does that because it makes us sound better. And I think that takes a little bit of knowledge and working with partners a few times round before you get that real trust. We're working on a very large project at the moment with Isco, and we're doing stuff that maybe it didn't even do prior to the conversation. But the conversation we've had with the customer on both sides is, we're going to make this work and we're going to work together. We might have some pitfalls, we might have some areas we fall down, but what we're not going to do is sit there and go, well, Doug's team said this and my team said this. And that's one thing that I've tried to avoid forever. If we're at fault, we'll put our hands up. But it's that making that first part clear is, we're here to deliver a great solution for the customer. And then the next part is some person, some company takes the lead in that and helps drive that from that perspective.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
No problems. Thanks for the question. Great to see you, Bernard.
Good question. Thank you, Bernard. Yeah, and I mean, that's another interesting aspect, right? But yeah, how do you convince customers to actually buy into it, right? Did you find any issues when you went in and said, hey, we can do this collectively, like you just said, like the example you gave, right? So we don't necessarily know exactly how we're going to fix it, but we're going to fix it.
Yeah, often it's not other way possible. There are so many projects where you need multiple skills and multiple solutions. And I think that often there's no other way. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. All projects need, I think it's trying to put together a clear order of events that these things need. Most projects will take a natural chain of reaction of how things need to be delivered. And one of the biggest changes that we've made recently is we'll use XD or Figma to map out the whole workflow without writing any pieces of technology. We were very, very guilty, even up until maybe 3 or 4 years ago, into let's dive in and let's write it because we're iterative and we're dynamic and we'll fix it as we go. But the reality is, without being too waterfall, but something that we can quickly put together within a week, couple of weeks, of saying, look, this is what it looks like. These are all the component parts, and this is whose part is in the journey with that. And I think if you can identify that and you can clearly show that, then we can make that much more harmonious from a customer and a project progress point of view.
Yeah. Have you also had instances where, you went on a collaboration journey, but found, in the course of the project that the other party didn't play the way you wanted to play?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But also customers might not sometimes. We have stepped in politely and told customers that maybe we're not the best partner for them. And I think like one of the challenges isn't just working with partners, is you've got to have the right customers that are willing to go the pace on the journey. And the one thing is, when you're trying to push the boundaries of technology, and Bernard will know this in this Simpress world, and others will know this, is harder. If I wanted to say, right, take Infigo and make it really good and continue to make it good and stuff, that's a massive job. Just on that, it takes lots of people and lots of effort, lots of collaboration. But if I would then want to do that with 3 or 4 other players, some of which the technology is not even developed, I then want to bring a customer in, and the reality is the customer never knows what they want. They have an idea, a concept but they don't know exactly what they want. And the reason that is because they've never bought your software before. So you have to try and help them, bring them into that journey. So you have to have the right customers, the right partners willing to collaborate, because it will move, it will develop, it will morph, and that becomes the reality from that perspective. But yeah, we've had, well, funny enough, I've worked on 3 projects this year that customers walked away and are now customers again.
They came back.
And they came back. And
Yeah.
we're very fair on those terms coming back as well. But the reality is we've grown up. We're a better organization now. We're 50 plus employees, so we can do more and handle more and are more capable, much better organized from that perspective. So we've been on a journey ourselves. So we're maybe a better partner for these guys for now and in the future as well. Maybe we weren't, because you can't, as I said earlier on, but we don't get it right every time. And I'd love to say that we do. If we did get it right every time, I'd probably only need 30 or 20 people. But the reality is, because of human nature and things changing, we need lots of different people at lots of different times for checkpoint and QA and making sure things move smoothly. And we're very hands-on these projects and with both the partners and the customer.
Do you feel you've got an advantage because maybe your personality, or at least the way that Infigo, operates right now is very much the DNA that you have?
Yeah, 100%. We've got one of the biggest distinct advantages. Not me, it's my people. My people are the best in the industry. What I've worked with them and helped them do is bring them together and work better together, collaborate better. And that's what I've got. 100%. There are probably better products. There are probably more advanced products, but you put our product, our team together, then it'll eat anybody off the table, hands down. I don't care if they've got 300 developers or 1,000 developers. We know we've got the scope and the team to do that. Do we push the boundaries? Yes, we do a 4-day week. That's a bit different. That's a bit unusual. We try lots of different things. I encourage my team, especially the SL team, right the way, doesn't matter what you're doing with the business, to go and learn and develop. I don't want people to sit in Infigo and exist. I want people to be nurtured. I want people to learn. Ideally, they come in, they stay for 2 or 3 years, and they go off and learn and more things and come back and do that journey again. But yeah, we do have a unique advantage against our competition, especially the big boys, that we're better this than most in that are in play. And when you back that up with a great team and then a really strong product, then that comes to market in a very, very strong and unusual way.
Yeah. So from your perspective as well, like having a very strong team internally that communicates and collaborates really well, that translates easier to customers than a logo or reputation.
It helps them for greater success, 100%.
Yeah. What's the I mean, you continue to grow Infigo, right? So how will collaboration take even a larger part of the business moving forward?
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the next, where does Infigo go? We've got plenty of engineers. I can't see us continue to keep adding engineers, maybe for more discrete things. I will look at partnership managers. We'll look at that structure there and collaboration, and that will be a big part of how we will develop and how we'll move forward as we grow and stuff. But one of the things that I've always been really sort of trying to push into the team, and it's really hard when you have an industry of some. We can't be the master to all partners, so we have to take a concentrated selection of those partners and work best of breed with those. And if they will then push and work with us in return on that same effort and that same energy. And I think that's one of the things, because if you've got too many partners, and I've seen lots of the web to print, we partner with everybody. Well, good luck doing that. It's only going to be setting you up for fail. So it is taking a handful, maybe a little larger than a handful of really good partners, giving them value, helping them, helping their customers, helping our customers, and continue to grow that. So, yeah, I see a lot more. And one of the biggest successes internally, and we haven't shared this a lot, is Greg's moved up into customer experience. Well, what does that mean? We just want to have customers, be easier to do business with, and for customers to have a better time with us. And what we have seen is adding in a couple of people that sit between support and post sale is allowing that customers to get the better value and better opportunity with our product. So once again, that's a collaboration. You've got these people, there's middle layer. Some people call them customer success, some people call them account managers, but they're collaborators that are sitting there saying, have you thought about doing this with our product for this customer of yours? And that will allow us to continue to embed ourselves deeper and getting our customers more value of our product that they've bought into. So I see a lot of development in that over the coming months and years ahead.
Yeah. So you're taking it from a per project base type of partnership into a more substantial, consistent.
And we try to look at that when we're working with customers. If we can we don't want to be a one-trick pony. We're too expensive. Time's too expensive. The customers have got other things to do. So there's plenty of players out there that want to be the one-trick ponies. That's not us. We want deep collaboration for a long time with our customers. They get the best out of it. We get the best out of it. That also presents some significant challenges as well. Excuse me, to continue to develop and push the product in other ways and other areas. And I think one of the things that we're known for in the market, even more so in the last sort of 18 months, is we're the second or third generation of what. So they'll try the products, they'll go to another product when they've outgrown that, but they really want collaboration, they really want technical product, they really want to push the boundaries. That's when we'll get pulled in to these medium to larger organizations and really help accelerate them. And a lot of that is not just, you've got all these features, is we've got the best APIs and we've got the best integration with the partners. And that's what's bringing that to the party.
Yeah, cool. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. And we still have just about 10 minutes to go. Do you ever make any choices when you think about collaboration? Is obviously there is a commercial interest, and then there is obviously the collaboration interest. You said it earlier, right? So we'll take care of this first, and that will come later. Have you had an instance where you actually made that decision and said, no, I think this is not going to work out well for us as a business?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that I think is less so every day we move forward, because we all understand and I think the challenges as well is we're existing in an environment where the players that exist in the market, but there's only a select few of us. So they're either getting bought out or they're merging. So we have great relationships, and then somebody else will buy them. And then that changes the landscape of what that relationship would be and things like that. So what started off as a great idea and a great relationship, within 3 to 6 months could be very different. So you've got to be very proactive in what happens in that scenario from that perspective.
Yeah. So you do. I mean, obviously, you think collaboration almost first, but you do keep an eye on.
You have to.
As well, right?
I think you continue.
Yeah.
And it also might change. And I think we have honest conversations that with our customers and with our partners is we want to find the best solution for the customer. And we might have to have a difficult conversation sometimes saying, look, guys, we've tried this. It didn't work the best. We think this would be a better fit. And that's a very difficult one to have. But when everybody stands up and goes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, then we can make sure that the right conversations and the right things are put in place.
Yeah, you can move forward. Yeah. We have a question, another. I'm going to add you to the stage, Bernard. So feel free to ask your question.
So over the last 2-3 years, was a shift in customer size for you? So is there a change in the balance between newcomers and established companies which requires your services? Was there a change, or is it still the same for the last 10 years?
No. There's been we are taking on board more companies that are in their third or fourth generation of web to print, and that might be that they've developed their own, that might be and they've gone so far, and we're seeing a big influx of those that we might not have saw a few years ago. So that's a big change, and I think that comes from having a more mature product. We're also understanding our fit in the marketplace, and our value with that. So that also has a bit of a change, which doesn't fit for all customers. And I think it's an interesting place. I sit on the board of 200 plus SaaS businesses, and one of the questions that gets asked all the time is, can we add the same value to every customer? And in reality, it isn't. So you have to sometimes pick your segments, and with that, you'll have some falling out of customer, and you'll bring some new ones on. It's a bit like trying to take employees in a space that they don't want to go. And you've got to be honest with them that this is the way, the direction of the business, and this is the way we're going. We want to bring you along, but if it doesn't fit, then we have to make some changes and things like that. And that is a continual. That's one thing I don't like as much, because I'd like to keep everybody forever, but the reality is we can't service everybody as well as we want to if we're trying to spread ourselves too thin. It's one of the reasons that we've stayed very focused on the commercial print, moving into labels and packaging and stuff like that, rather than just saying we do everything. And that's allowed us to really keep a much more focused mindset from the customer. But yeah, there's definitely evolution, and I think that will continue for a number of years to come.
Great question. Thank you, Bernard.
Thanks,
what's something you would have wanted to know when you started Infigo that you know today that you didn't know then?
What would I know? Two things, and I'm going to be very, very honest here, and I don't use it against me, anyone who's listening. I think two things: the pressure and cash flow.
Yeah.
The pressure, especially during COVID, running a business, trying to grow a business, being smaller business, not having cash reserves and stuff like that of some of the bigger corporates and stuff, that was truly, truly immense. And that took a huge mental toll on me as a human. Really, I had to go do a lot of soul searching to work out why I don't just work for an organization and earn 300 or 400 grand a year, because that would be an easy choice. Why am I continuing to pursue that? So I think that is the pressure is real in our organisations, already size. But when you're small to medium, we have a few more challenges than some of the bigger ones, and you have less people in larger, like you do in larger organisations, to share that. So I think that's one thing is don't be afraid of the pressure. Talk to people about the pressure. The pressure is real. I know you guys are running a new thing with Dscoop, and that is still dark days. I'm a single founder business, so I've got guys that have been around me for a long time. But when you've got to pay the bills or sort staff problems or sort serious customer problems, that buck stops at me, and that comes with immense pressure, and that takes a lot of toll on myself personally, but also my family and those around me. So that's one of the reasons I've always tried to build a very strong team and a very strong presence around. And I think one of the things with that is also being aware of my own capabilities. As much as I continue to grow, I've got better people that can do things faster and more better. And that's one of the reasons of bringing Alex in. He's day-to-day, he's hands-on, he's a better manager, he holds people to account better and a lot of that sort of stuff. So I think that's, and then, just cash flow. God, I wish and I don't think I crack it. You'll know about this, Peter, with your ebbs and flows of your.
Oh yeah.
It's mental. But I always think, let's make profit and we'll be rich. No, that doesn't always
solve it. No.
But yeah, we're fortunate that we are a much larger organisation now. We have recurring revenue and all those things. But they're things that have really shone. And the third one, which is a bit of a shame, is don't trust anybody unless you know them very, very well. Be careful who you bring into your circle, because there's a lot of sharks that wanted to jump on the coattails of your success. So I've found that a few times. So that's an interesting one when you're trying to be open and you try to collaborate. But yeah, there are things, and I'll happily share my experiences or one-on-one, and anybody would be interested in talking about those further. But I think one of the things we're really blessed with in this day and age is awareness of the pressure, awareness of these requirements. And I've had some good coaches over the last 3 or 4 years that have helped develop me as a human. I have 2 drivers, unfortunately. I have hurry up and be perfect. But anybody knows you can't do those 2 things simultaneously, continuously. That creates its own internal pressure. So luckily, investing in time and coaches and speaking to good people like yourself, sharing problems is one of those things. So a couple of little anecdotal pieces.
Cool. Good that you're sharing. Brian has a question. Brian, you're coming on stage all the way from Chicago.
Hey, Doug. Not really a question, more of just a comment. I have found, so we've been doing this for many, many years, right? Web to print is kind of where it started. And today we're much more in the e-com space, but Infigo for us has been a huge breath of fresh air. The way that you guys work and the way that we collaborate together, I think is very similar to the way that we work with our clients. And that's something that we've never had before. I've talked to a lot of companies in this space over many years. And we were with EFI, what seems like forever. And you could not get that collaboration, right? You'd go into a queue, you'd be talking to people through email, but there was no, real feeling that they were in this with you. But then with you guys, it's been a completely different experience, right? We've finally are leaving all of those EFI platforms, moving everything to your platform. And, occasionally there's customer needs that come up that are completely custom, and it might be something that your platform hasn't even done yet. And the answer so far has always been, we're going to figure that out for you. Give us, a few days. We'll meet with the team and we collaborate. And the next thing you know, the site's live and it's got the functionality that we need. So I guess my point of saying that is for people that are going to watch this in the future, it's really valuable to have those kind of relationships. And I think you guys are a really unique company in that space. So kudos to you and thank you. And we're going to continue to push you to do new things. But
no, I think, and that goes both ways. Brian, I know your team, yourself, you put together an amazing team. And I think it's that willingness to say, look, we're not going to get it right every time, but give us a helping hand. And I think that was one of the things that I was astonished working at the bigger boys of, well, let's just get it sold. It's like, well, we can't. One of my challenges was I was top sales guy, but I was selling stuff that nobody was using. And it used to drive me mad. And I'm like, that's so short term. I want to create a product that you can use, your customers can use, and develop that because that will only create stickiness for you, stickiness for your customers. And it's a real amazement that that's still not a driver within our world. So I think that takes turn. But I really appreciate that sentiment and that feedback, because that is 100% why I get up every day and I take on the pressure and the craziness, and I'm fortunate that we've got Greg. I know you work very closely with Greg and Hannah and support and those guys. But yeah, no, that's some fantastic feedback. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. So with that, Douglas, we are coming to the end of the show. Is there anything that you haven't shared that you're like, oh, I really thought this is something I definitely want to share?
Okay, so here is Doug 24. So I think we're here for a long time, and one of the things that I'm trying to do as a better human, is be more effective, be happier, be more fulfilled, and stuff like that, and take that time to be that person. And I don't think enough people take that time personally to do that. So I urge everybody to take 5 minutes, half an hour a week of being a better human to themselves first, and then opening that out to others 100%, because that is so important. You can be such a more effective person to everybody around you if you take 5 minutes, half an hour to yourself, or more once a week. And I think one of the best things we ever did was the 4-day work week. And I encourage every company that's on this, listening to this, to look at this and maybe take a flavour of it, but give that employees the think time to be better at their themselves and be better at their jobs, because they'll just give more back to the world and your business by doing that. So that's my little Gandhi speech.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So before we go, everyone here, you can access the chat. You can continue to access the chat after the session itself. We'll be sharing the recording probably next week or the week after. Look out for a note that goes out in the Dscoop, and you'll be able to find it online. You'll also get a notification with a quick survey. So it's only 2 or 3 questions. So please fill that out so we can get better next time. Douglas, you live close to the Big Ben, or is that your clock that is chiming in every 15 minutes?
I'm in my cabin at the bottom of and my granddad's, I think it's called a grandmother clock. And I can't get rid of it. So he passed away many years ago, and it chimes in the background.
Okay. Oh, that's great. He was here. He was here. That was great. That was great.
For effect of the audio.
Yeah, just not know the time. Douglas, thank you so much. It was a lot of fun.
Cheers, guys.
And you only swore once, so there's
We're very unusual.
You were cautious about it, but that's quite okay in this session. So swearing is allowed. Final task for you, Douglas. I mean, what was the best question that you will ask that I can send the Dutch stroopwafels?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to make you send 2 lots, because I can't gave me absolutely brilliant customer feedback there, which is genuinely gave me goosebumps, and why we set out. And Bernard, I've known Bernard a while now, over a few years, different events, and some great questions there as always. So if that's okay, Peter, I'll give mine.
That's perfectly fine.
You can send. Bride's probably fed up of them, so he might not. Excellent.
I'll get some Taylor Swift stroopwafels, Brian, coming your way. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining this session. Douglas, great conversation. Time has flown by. We're just over time. Thank everyone for asking the questions and bringing your time and attention. And be safe out there and enjoy the rest of your day.
Keep collaborating.
Keep collaborating. That's a good one. Yes.
Cheers.